Today's April 19th. Buck takes the series from the Rays. Keller with the most important start of the year so far. And again, they show resiliency. Nothing is easy. We'll talk about it all. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Let's go. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh. His name is Gary, sitting in for Jake. What's up, Gary?
I have an underwhelming beard for this show, but I'm excited to be here, man. I even got my root beer. I got my A&W here. I'm all ready.
There it is. There it is. All right, perfect. Listen, I keep thinking about this. Every time we talk, it's like, yeah, we got to do something. And then I always forget, when was the last time? And I don't know, but we're due. We're kind of always due, though. We're kind of always due.
Yeah, I feel like that. It's always a good time. Even at the ball game, we stood there like, I think we both were there so early on opening day, and we stood there talking for like a half an hour about baseball.
Yeah. It never
before
ends.
We even got to see any.
That's right. That's the way it works. I got to see a lot of people. I was at the games Friday and Saturday. Got to see a lot of people, probably most specifically on Saturday. A lot of people to catch up. NS9 did their tailgate and everything, and so there was plenty of folks in. Got to talk to a bunch of them, so it was good. It was a crazy game Saturday. We had umbrellas flying across the bleachers section, impaling people.
I saw that was crazy.
I don't think anybody got impaled, but certainly people got hit by it.
It looked like something that somebody's got to get in there with an engineering crew and figure that out. That can't happen.
Right.
Like, even on an accident, that could have literally killed somebody. We could have had like a scene from The Pit literally taking place.
They could have had a real life. Well, we've had a few of those, I guess.
Yeah.
We
didn't need another one of those.
We did not. Yeah. Absolutely not. But I didn't see it live. I saw the video of it a little bit later, but I mean, I don't know. There must have just been a ton of loose trash, because in the middle, when they started happening, it was like a tornado of trash. Like all around the infield, there was trash everywhere.
Well, Philadelphia is in town for the playoff series, so makes some sense that there'd be extra trash laying around.
Yep, they showed a couple Flyer fans on the screen too, so
yeah,
they were there. Sense. They were there. Hey, when you're in Pittsburgh, you got to go to PNC. So I don't blame them.
I would agree.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, they got a nice little park out there too in Philly.
Yeah,
I do like it, but. Yep. It's pretty inside anyway. Everything outside of it's pretty gross. But
I feel like that's the way in a lot of places. Again, like the North Shore is just also just a good place to go and be around. I went to a game in Detroit, and I was like, all right, the park's nice.
Yeah, well, Detroit's actually come a long way too. Over the years, believe it or not, because it used to be a lot worse before they got that new ballpark.
This was about 10 years ago. So
I went to the old Tiger Stadium, saw a game.
Okay.
And that was not fun, like in any way, shape, or form. I was a much younger person, but not great.
Yep. I say hi to some people in chat here. Doug's in the chat. Greg, Martin, Cheryl, Pit City What? Miles. See if I missed anybody. Ethan. Got to see Ethan Saturday as well.
You got a good mix of people in here.
Good mix of people in here. Oh, wait. So there was some people that got whacked by the umbrella that they know of. So. Oh, yeah, because it blew across there. So it would have went to the section where like all the NS9, like they were selling tickets for that section. So it would have blown right into that section.
Yeah, I mean, the little snippet of video I saw, I was very grateful that it kind of turned at the last second because that pipe was going right for somebody. And that's what I was afraid of, was watching it like impale somebody.
Yep.
But I mean, I wish it hadn't hit anybody regardless. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So, hey, there is baseball to talk about, and it's fun. It's good. Like I've enjoyed, I know we're still going to have, I don't know if you analyze the games like more critically when your team is better, or if it's just out of habit to criticize them and you just go. I don't know, but either way, we are trained a little bit, and I just feel like this has been refreshing. And one of the things that I feel is most refreshing about this team is, and we talked about this at the home opener, I just feel like this team's never out of a game. Even the games that they fall short.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different feel for sure. Like I said this on my show about my wife being with me at a game. She came to the Sunday game right after opening the home opener with me. She goes, "There's just never a good time to go to the restroom."
Yeah.
Like, she's not used to that.
Right.
Like, going to baseball games with me, for the most part, you can get up whenever you want. Like, she would literally look at me and go like, "Is it a good time to go to the restroom?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I mean, Reynolds and Cruz probably won't be up for a couple innings." So, I mean, and that was just how much I expected them to even get through the lineup to churn to them.
Right.
That it was like, yeah, sure, you got a couple innings. I mean, that's the difference from literally just last year. So, yeah, it feels different.
Yeah, I feel like last year too, like a lot of times the standard, right? The standard with baseball is, well, while we're on the field, I'll go get a hot dog, or I'll go to the bathroom, or whatever. But I want to be here when they're hitting. And I felt like a little bit last year, because the pitching was already good, because we were already getting like, specifically Paul Skeens, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like starting to see those guys, and Jared Jones, whenever he was here, and before the injuries and all that stuff the year before. But like, there's been some guys that's like, no, I want to be in my seats to watch Paul Skeens. I'll go get something when our offense is out here. Hopefully I can make it back before they get 3 outs.
I felt that way too. I mean, like, personally, I mean, even when they stink, I'm usually a person that kind of likes to just sit there for the most part once the game gets started. I don't like to float around all that much. I maybe get up once and come back. That's about tops for me. Now, whoever's with me, they go and do whatever. I mean, have fun.
I'll take a water when you come back.
Yeah. I'm not like a scorecard person, but man, like once I'm sitting there, I kind of just want to sit there and take in the game and watch it. I don't know. This year, that's been a lot more fun. I mean, like, it hasn't felt like as much of a chore.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't know what's coming with the lineup. You can start something anywhere. Last year, Josh, here's a great way to put it. Last year, you would get like a walk with 2 outs, and you'd be like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to go and get up and get my sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Now you get a walk with 2 outs. Well, 2 pitches later, you could be up 2-0 from just about anybody in the lineup. Realistically, they're all capable of it now. Even Mangum can poke one.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's just a much more exciting product in general. It's fun to watch. I think they've gelled early, which is big.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they've even come close really to playing their best baseball yet.
Nope. I've been saying that for probably a couple weeks now, and all the various things is like, they haven't really put it together yet. They haven't gone on. I mean, 5 games in a row to win is one thing, but like, that's not really a lengthy winning streak. When you start getting into those, depending on how many teams you play and how you stretch it, like if it's over 3 different series, I could see like maybe a 6 game, but like to really run off like 7, 8, 9 in a row, like they're capable of doing that at some point this season. And it doesn't have to be just when Reynolds is going good. It can be a number of guys. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to see how it was specifically this week, right? We added 4 guys. We only had 4 guys that hit a home run before this week, and we added 4 more this week, and it looks like, and we'll get into those guys here in a little bit.
I mean, I have some questions about how Kelly's deploying some things, I guess Brandon Lau's a guy that he's never played a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you look back through his history, you're going to be very fortunate to get 130 games out of him this year.
Right.
So him sitting makes some sense. Even when he's hot, if you're facing a lefty like McClanahan, you're smart to sit him.
Right.
I don't understand why we're not trusting the reputation that Ryan O'Hearn is showing us he has for facing left-handed pitching right now, though. I don't think he needs pulled for Billy Cook. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like we're trusting O'Neal Cruz to always stay in against the lefty, but we don't trust him to stay as the leadoff hitter.
Right.
Why? He's actually hitting better against. Why don't you trust the numbers that you're getting? Are they too fresh? Like, do you need them to age like wine before you believe them? That's what I'm just not understanding. I'm all about resting players, and I get it. And Reynolds is bagged up. I'm just saying, I think you're going a little too far with the interchangeability you believe these guys have.
How much of that do you think? And maybe you've heard, but how much of that do you think is from above Don Kelly and coming down through like, hey, we're going to do this. This is how we're going to manage things. This is where our game plan is or whatever. Do you think that that's, I know like scheduled days off is one of those things that we've had a lot of conversation with over the years. And it seems like that's still there, which makes me believe that maybe that's not just coming from Derek Shelton, but this is an organizational plan.
I'm sure that the scheduled day off thing is a Ben Cherington thing. I'm also sure that Don Kelly has the flexibility to make a decision to change that if things are going in a certain direction, or if a certain need arises, or there's a matchup that you would just look like a fool for not taking advantage of. Those sorts of things, I think we'd be foolish to assume they would take off the plate for a manager, And I know they're not calling to the dugout for in-game stuff. And I know they don't have anything to do with the lineup. I just think there's a little bit of Don Kelly that maybe overthinks things a little bit. And I think he gets a little bit out in front of his skis and makes some changes. Like a simple suggestion I have, Josh, is like, you're not worried about Ryan O'Hearn's defense for 8 innings, but you think that he's going to lose the game for you in the 9th if you don't sub him for a defender. Now, here's why I say that. You have to do a calculus. You have to go, is there a bigger chance that Ryan O'Hearn playing right field in the 9th inning is going to blow this game for me, or that the pitcher that I'm pulling out right now is going to blow the game? It's going to have nothing to do with Ryan O'Hearn, and I'm going to wish I had his bat still. Yeah. Stop over-managing that crap. You trust him for 8 innings, play him. Just stop with that stuff. Play your best players and let it be.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've kind of seen that as the way that I've kind of thought through that is that Don Kelly is willing to use the entire roster. And we've seen a couple times where the entire roster has been used, including Saturday night, where I said, you pinch hit. Like I would have personally, I would have let Henry Davis hit in that scenario when he put in Nick Gonzalez for him. And the reason for that, and I know that Nick Gonzalez has been good with runners in scoring position this year. He continued that today. But knowing that you're dealing with a catcher and knowing that there's nobody else, Nick Gonzalez was getting that at bat. And if it didn't work, then that's it. Everybody was done. And so then you had to flip Gonzalez to Bart just like that. And because Gonzalez made the last out, you had Bart standing on second in extra innings with no other option to go with. And so that's the only reason. Now that's thinking 2 layers deep, right? But I
don't expect the game to go 13 innings.
Exactly. You thought, well, if Nick Gonzalez just gets a hit, we don't have to worry about it. Well, that's a big if. It's hard to get a hit. Period.
But a couple times this season now, we have wound up in extra innings, and some of our best players are not able to play because we're playing games with defense.
Right.
That's all. Nick York, did Nick York need to change positions 4 times in one game?
Right.
Do we think he's at that level as a rookie player? Do we think he's at that level? I don't. I don't think that's something that you want to do to somebody that young.
Sure.
I think that's something that, you move him once, I get it. But you leave him there. Like, they literally moved him. He went from third base to right field to left field to back to third base.
I thought first base was in there.
Whichever.
Yeah.
Add it in.
Yep.
I mean, like, boop, 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 all over the field.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Like, that sort of stuff, I think, is just asking for trouble on a team that's already kind of right there on the edge of, do we have enough offense to overcome what we're putting on the field here?
Right.
I think they do. But don't tempt fate, too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I think there are some guys that feed off that. I don't know that that's going to be Nick York. Like Josh Harrison, I think fed off that. You know what I mean? But even Harrison wanted to be at one position eventually. So, yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to think about that more. And this is why I love having you on, because we can go and, you know what I mean? That was literally something that I thought, some of it might be overkill, but the fact that he's been willing to use everyone and to get Billy Cook involved without giving him at bats, basically, you know what I mean? And I do think that there is not necessarily, I don't trust you out there, but I trust this guy more. Like Billy Cook is a really, like, he's a plus outfielder. Mm-hmm. And so I do see that as like, putting him and Mangum out there for defense late in the games, I think is less about the player they're taking out as much as it is about the player they're putting in a lot of times, because Ryan O'Hearn has been good out there. And I
haven't seen what people are so worried about.
No. I mean, the arm's not
a
great.
Little weak. Yeah. But
It's it.
Geez, I mean, like, he's in good position to make his throws. He throws to the right base. He's just a smart baseball player. And I think he's capable of doing it. I think O'Neal Cruz has started to really show some signs of taking to center field now. We're getting better jumps. They're letting him play deeper and letting him come in on balls instead of having to track back. That's helped tremendously.
A lot.
We actually see opponents do that in PNC Park. So that makes a ton of sense that they would let him do that too. And it's really helping him. And we've seen a few more drop-ins because of it. And that the dive attempt the other night was a result of that too. But you can take that because then he's backed up and it's okay.
Sure.
I love that. And I think it's going to turn him into a decent player because he's really tracking better into the gaps now. They've got the communication worked out from early on where everybody knows he's to take charge, they're to back off.
And there was one Saturday when him and O'Hearn were going together and O'Hearn was able to call and Cruz went behind him. And I thought, okay. I see the line drive going right at Cruz, and you can watch him grinding and watch the way that he's fielding those. And occasionally he has to reach up a little bit or, you know what I mean? But he's learning that play. That is the hardest one. And so, I'm watching that, and occasionally you can kind of see it live. You can see it a lot better than you can on TV because I can watch literal, like how he started, and he's freezing a little bit more, which I'd rather have than taking 2 steps in first.
Yes, I agree.
I think the dive that he attempted that went past him, you're up 4, There's one. I don't hate that.
You
He
know
could have
you're
just
being
let that
backed up.
drop in.
It's okay.
But it's okay.
Right.
And he went after it. And that was a play where there was a little freeze at the beginning.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd rather have that. It's a little more conservative, but he's had some costly plays that I'm okay with a little bit of tilt while he's still understanding that.
I'm just saying I'm seeing progress. I don't think I've seen the last of his issues. I'm just saying I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing overall in his game, just taking the game of baseball more seriously. At some point, talent owes the game that. And I think that's basically what all these veterans have been just in a conga line trying to hammer into his head for the past 3 years. And he took it very seriously this offseason.
Yeah.
And really and truly, this is a different baseball player. One that is going to be a brand new topic for us, Josh, when we're all complaining we can't sign him.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's going to turn on a dime as this season continues. I picked him to be the team MVP this year. There's a reason. He's a different kid. This is not the O'Neal Cruz you knew. And I'm pleasantly surprised. And then Reynolds out there, he's Reynolds.
Yeah.
In all sincerity, he's never going to measure great, but he does most of the things right. A couple stupid throws recently. Mangum does it too.
Yep.
Just did it in the other game.
Just did it.
You know who doesn't anymore? O'Neal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, he's grown, man.
For sure.
He and I think O'Hearn are great out there together. I think they've got it on lockdown on that side. I wish Reynolds was a little better.
O'Hearn feels like a guy I would have loved to play with. He's dead serious, but like when he goes at you and he tells you something, you can tell it's because he wants you to be better. You know what I mean? It's like that guy who's just super intense, but he's not a jerk about it. But he's for real. Like he's serious. He's not just going to let it go. And
he doesn't make too many expressions. It's pretty funny. He's growing on the city. I think, I think the city's growing on him. He seems to really enjoy it. And, a couple-year contract. I hope that he can stick around for a while because he is a good, versatile player you can really bounce around and do some things with. And I love it.
Yep. All right, let's talk about Mitch Keller. Just today, just because I think it.
Wait.
Oh, whoa.
You can't say it like that. Not after what he did today. You can't go, let's talk about Mitch Keller. You got to go, let's talk about Mitch Keller.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I said in the intro, and I think it is, I think that was the most important start of the year to this point. When the bullpen was just tanked and we had, and really like even Saturday, like Johan Ramirez pitched okay. It was a pickoff that kind of really was the biggest thing.
That's what's gotten him twice.
Yeah. And well, and more than that. And I was watching a lot of games today. And I saw two other just today. I saw a pickoff at first and a pickoff at second by pitchers where they threw the ball away. Different teams. And so like we've seen that, right? We saw it. Who threw it into center field off Lau's glove?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But either way, it was that play, and it was early in the game. It was the inning where it was Ashcraft. Where he turned, and it was both plays, that one and the Johan one. The runner started moving, and instead of stepping off, we went with a pickoff move. And then once they saw the runner moving, it made their throw go away, and it was a mess. But either way,
Johan's was even dumber because the play is that you run towards the runner.
Yeah.
And then, and then you make a decision as to whether it's going to second or first based on what the runner does. I don't know what he was doing.
Now, did he step off or was it, because I was there, I couldn't really tell. Did he step off or was it a pickoff?
He stepped off.
Okay. So he could have held onto the ball.
He could have held onto the ball. He just made a terrible throw trying to get it out of his hand and into a fielder's. And
wow.
That's a couple times that he's done that. over there. And,
unbelievable he scored from first on that too.
He's hardly the problem.
No.
He was forced. I mean, people are complaining about that game. Listen, he was being asked to do too much already.
Right.
I know he made a terrible defensive play, but he shouldn't have been even out there at that point.
Right.
This team was a bad Mitch Keller start, because that's what we're going to talk about.
That's
not
right.
Johan. It was a bad Mitch Keller start away from having to watch Dotel make his debut and eat one, probably.
Right. Yeah, he had to.
So he had to give it today, and he did. We've
seen Keller in this spot before where it was, we really need. Really, I never say we need 7, just because I'm thinking 7 is when you start getting into the territory. 7 innings is where you start getting in the territory of you did more. You need 6. But this was one of those days where it was like, if you need 7, you kind of need 7. You know what I mean? And he did.
We haven't had anybody go 7 since Skeens last year.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's not something that you can openly ask for a lot of the time, I don't think, in today's game. But boy, we needed the 6, and he gave the 7 without much of a problem.
Yeah.
10 years ago, he goes for 8.
Right. Yeah. 7 innings, all said, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, by the way, no walks from the Pirates pitching today at all.
That's a beautiful thing to hear.
And 5 strikeouts, which is not a crazy amount. Bubba did the same thing in his start Friday. Just, I think, 3 punch outs. And it was like, hey, you don't have to get your strikeouts when you need them.
Yeah, I think Bubba's more effective when he knows that. You're right. Mitch kind of is whatever he needs to be on a given night. You know, he doesn't have as many options as Skeens to get you out. But he has enough options that he can dance around what he does and doesn't have on a certain day.
Sure.
And I think on a day where he's got everything, like today, he's as good as anybody. You know, I just think most of the time he has to pick and choose what he has that's working that day. And in his case, that's still 3 pitches usually, you know?
Yeah.
This one, he looked like he had everything. He even threw a sweeper in there that mystified people, and he was struggling with those. So,
yeah.
I mean, great marks today. Super, super important for the entire team. That's one that everybody knows how important that start was, and everybody knows who delivered it.
That's right. And you saw some comments. I think I think through Mackey's, he was mentioning some quotes were saying like, that's our leader about Mitch Keller. You know what I mean? And so like, and he stepped up that way today. That was, like I said, I think it was the most important start. And then on top of that, you were able to get Wilbur Dotel an opportunity to go in there and pitch 1 inning instead of going multiple. And I think that's good to say, all right, hey, you're a big leaguer now. Cause we're going to, at some point, we got tomorrow off. We're going to, at some point, need him to go 3. I don't know how long he's here, but I mean, right now, I mean, I hope a little bit longer than not, because I would like to see what it is. These guys like him, and I know, like Don Kelly said, he's a starter, and I get that. But right now, you need a starter to be on this team that can go 3-4 innings if you need it.
Right. He just hasn't really gotten off to a good start in spring. Since spring, I should say, because he was really good in spring. But once he got started in AAA, it just didn't go great. So I expect him to go back, if only because I think he's really trying to work through a few things still, and we probably saw one of them. It's just fastball command. Like, it's really putting it where you want to. And when he gets that, my goodness, yeah. But I think he can help in the bullpen, Josh, if only because I think he can always be a fastball slider guy, and that's enough.
Sure.
But to be a starter, he'll need to be more, and he has more, but those are the things he loses control of the most. So if he wants to be a bullpen arm, or they need him to be, he can be right now with those 2 pitches. But that 3 innings would be asking a lot from a guy throwing 2 pitches, So you probably do need to have him go back and like complete the work that he's already been putting in at some point. If he's up here for a month because now they have to wait 15 days for Cam Sanders to get another shot, whatever else you got to do there.
Yeah, but even then, like Cam Sanders is not a guy who can give you those bulk innings, and I think you're waiting for Barco at this point. You're waiting for
I like Cam. I think Cam can give you a couple innings.
Okay,
I think Cam can give you 2. He's not. I mean, he's got closer-esque stuff, but I think he could give you 2-3. He was a starter not all that long ago. I'm not saying that. We always talk about having to move starters into those roles. Well, I think we forget that bullpen arms, for the most part, have been starters, and as recently as like last year. So like telling them that now I want you to be a guy that can give me 2 or 3 isn't a lot different than telling a starter, I want you to be able to give me 2 or 3, but I might just want you for 1.
Yeah.
Like it works both ways, I think, sometimes. And we need to remember that, because Antoine Kelly, we're going to go through the same stuff with.
Right.
If he starts figuring it out. Same kind of big stuff, really a starter, might need to work out of the bullpen. Barco might need to spend this whole year out of the bullpen, even when he comes back. So.
Sure. Yeah, I watched Dotel pitch in Columbus, his first start of the year. And I just looked up the line just to refresh my memory here. It was 4 1/3, 4 hits, 3 runs. He gave up 2 home runs though. Walked 3, struck out 4. And I mean, obviously it was one of those things where I hadn't seen him before. I liked the arm. I liked everything that he was throwing. He just was missing quite a bit. And when you're missing, and to be honest, Columbus has a pretty good team. They had some guys who had like, I'm trying to think of who it was. He's like 32. He's played 8 years in Major League Baseball, and he's just crushing in AAA. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those guys. Yeah. And somebody was like, well, that guy's good. And I was like, well, yeah, he should. He's played like 8 years in Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those guys. And I think he hit a 2-run homer off of him. And I mean, it was fine, but sometimes those guys, I wonder what you can get out of them going, instead of saying like, I need you to try to go 6, I just need you for 2. Like he hit 100 today. Right. You know what I mean? And kind of empty the tank a little bit early and make sure that you're effective. And sometimes I think that works from these guys, and young enough that it's like, no, we'll be able to still get you stretched out, but right now I need you,
Yeah. I think if you just look at the rotation, how could anybody in the system feel hard done by?
Right.
Like, how could you look at this rotation and Jared Jones coming back? How could you look at that and be like, well, I'm not going to be willing to go in the bullpen. Maybe, are you not willing to be a major leaguer then? I mean, because I think that's your path until there's an injury. Or do you want to pitch down here until that happens? I think everybody's going to have to embrace that. That's the way it is. Just like when good teams make the playoffs and then somebody that started for them all year ends up in the bullpen.
Yeah. And
then they always act all upset, and hurt. And everybody knew that was the goal all along, was to get you the hell out of this rotation. You're pretty bad,
Yeah.
Like you were never going to see Jeff Locke in a playoff game. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Yeah.
He was Randy Tomlin, right?
Randy Tomlin. Yes. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's talk about a couple more guys who are starting to, well, Mitch has been good all year, save one game. So,
yeah.
And really wasn't awful, but we know.
Skeen's got a hiccup, so did he.
Yeah. But we got a couple bats that are starting to show up a little bit, specifically two in Ozuna and Horwitz.
Yeah.
Ozuna in the last 7 games, 11 for 30. That's 367. 4 runs, 2 homers, 7 RBIs. Those 2 homers and 7 RBIs are all of them for the season. Right? He didn't have an RBI. And now, 7, and we're starting to look at this. And I don't think there's really much question that I think he's kind of caught up. I'm seeing at the home opener there, I was there with a buddy of mine, and he just said, the swing's bad. I haven't seen a good swing. And he's not used to watching Ozuna. He's not familiar with him, and he didn't watch spring training or nothing. And I said,
he doesn't have a pretty swing.
No, I said, well, it's never good, but you're right. We haven't seen the A swing. We're seeing the A swing now. We're seeing it a lot. And the timing's there.
Contact, yeah.
Yep. We're seeing good contact, and we're seeing like production, right? Most importantly, we're seeing production. And now that you're past kind of that frustration of when's it going to happen. And I on here and others, you've heard me saying like, it's going to come. He's got a track record. I don't have to really worry about it. Now, if we're 3 months in, I'm worried about it, but yeah. I give it that time because he's earned that.
I mean, I don't think that he was somebody that deserved the fret at the beginning of the season for starting the way he has. I understand being annoyed with it, but like, I guess everybody else on the team was hitting, and it to me was like perfect cover for him to find a swing. And that's kind of why he worked in Atlanta so well, because as he worked into being himself, the rest of the team was hitting. And then once he starts hitting, wow. And I think that's kind of where we're getting to. Now he's hitting, and you've got these other dudes around him that, like, if he goes cold for a week, you'll live, because there's going to be a week when he carries you.
Right.
And I think that's what's important, is they're building layer upon layer of different guys that can carry you for a minute. And when you have a lineup like that, you can go weeks where Brandon Lau doesn't do well. And we did, as he quietly didn't do anything but draw walks for a while, right?
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
And O'Hearn's been consistent from start to finish. Unbelievable. I just think he's such a clean professional hitter. But it's great to have Ozuna going, and I don't think people necessarily understood how important that was, that he start taking off, because they had to have that threat from the right side. And boy, anybody else left who's worried about whether he's got enough power to be a right-handed power threat here, the dent on the rotunda says otherwise.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of telling right there. It was like when Greg Brown said, I think it's less than 10 that have gotten to that area of the rotunda.
That was a missile.
Yeah.
I mean,
the power's definitely there. That's not something you're worried about. But he's done it too. The one thing that I thought that was really interesting, and maybe those who've watched Ozuna longer, but he goes to right center pretty well too. I think the assumption is always dead pull, but like the swing looks like it's like he's used to doing that.
He is. It's not like he's been taught that by Matt Haig.
Sure.
I'm just saying, like, it's something that he has always had as part of his game. He is an RBI hound. He'll get them however he has to. If it's a ground ball, that's fine. If it's a fly ball, that's what he's going for. I mean, like, he wants an RBI. He'll get them however he can. And you have to know how to hit different ways to do that, to play that kind of game. So, I mean, we've watched him for real. I've watched enough Atlanta he was always in the heart of that order with all those hitters for a reason. And that didn't all just disappear. Even if it slowly fades, there's enough there this year that I think he's going to be exactly what they need. And I am stoked about what it does to this lineup.
Well, it's a big swing against left-handed pitching, which we saw early this season. It was like, oh, you know what? Maybe our lineup against lefties might not be that good. But now I think something like, well, first off, what we're seeing from Cruz. And I think adding Ozuna and getting guys like Nick York more at bats, you just like what you see there through and through. And now I think you're just not worried about it. I think I'm not concerned going into a start against a lefty. And you have a situation today where they give Billy Cook a start. He goes 1 for 2 and they bring in a reliever and Horwitz comes in and hits a bomb. And it's like, yeah, we're fine, dude. We've got 13 guys.
You do have 13 guys, but I just don't want to get carried away into believing that Ryan O'Hearn isn't always, against no matter which handed pitcher it is, one of the best 9. I want him there.
Right.
I don't want to be platooning Ryan O'Hearn. He's shown enough against lefties that his historical numbers against them are out the window.
Right.
Pay attention to what he's doing now. Same with Cruz.
Even last year, he handles lefties.
Like, I don't want to see a lot of that. Like, the Billy Cook thing, fine, I get it. You just want to get the guy a game.
Sure.
So be it. But for the most part, I don't want Ryan O'Hearn subbed out of that lineup. I think it makes it harder on the opponent later in the game when you've blatantly ignored that you started against a lefty and left in lefties that can hit them anyway. They can't do the matchup game with you. And I think it makes everything better. You know, you throw Reynolds into that mix, and Lau's really the only reason that you would ever do it. You bring in a lefty to face Lau, but you might kill yourself anyway. You know,
sure.
Cruz is hitting better against him.
Right. And I'm not even there with Horwitz all the way. Like, if it's a straight up platoon, that's a different thing. If you're talking, this was my Sunday lineup after a long game yesterday, and I wanted to give O'Hearn the day off for that reason. That's more understandable, regardless of, and it is like, okay, so this is, you know, if you're gonna give Billy Cook a game, you want it to be against a lefty. So if it's that, then okay, that I'll give you. I don't want to see a trend the same way, but like I said, I'm the same way with Horwitz. I don't want to see a trend where we're just automatically taking Horwitz out every time there's a lefty pitching. Late game, need a hit. I understand you've got somebody like York on the bench who can come in and you like that. I mean, we just had that scenario with Brandon Lau and it didn't work out, but I'm not so sure it was a terrible move. I really just, I think I understood exactly what they were doing in that moment.
I wouldn't have made the move just based on the day Lau was having at the plate.
That would have been my, would have been my pause.
You can tell when a guy, and that's kind of what, if you actually want to hear like the reason to be angry at Don Kelly, it's because Don Kelly knows better.
Sure.
Don Kelly ought to know what a hot guy looks like.
Yeah, that was kind of uncharacteristic in that aspect.
And that was just a silly pull at that point. Because if nothing else, you were going to get a professional at bat. Hell, he might have walked. Like, let's just pretend he couldn't hit the guy. Like, he's at least going to do what he needs to do in that situation. Yeah. He's at least going to get the ball in the air. You know that's the kind of bat he is. And you know that's the kind of day he was having. I mean, listen, I'm not going to do that to Nick York.
Sure. And right, that's a good point too.
Brandon Lau was cool to pretend that he endorsed it after the game, but I guarantee he did not feel that was the right move. What baseball player would? You know that knows what they are. You know what I mean? He knows that he's the big star power hitter RBI guy on this team right now. Nah, there's got to be a few guys that you don't do that to in a lineup. Yeah. There has to be. If not, you have nobody that you deserves to be called a star. You'd never do it to Cruz hitting lefties like this.
Mm-mm.
You shouldn't do it to O'Hearn, even though I've seen it. You shouldn't do it to Lau, and I could understand it because there are times when he's not seeing the ball well and they bring in a tough lefty, and I get it.
Right. But not that day.
Reynolds, you'd be stupid. He's a switch hitter. You know, and I think you should be able to do it for Ozuna. You should be able to take him out. He shouldn't even be like a full-time, every day I have to start guy. But you're not going to do that to certain people. You know? You do it to Connor Griffin because he's a rookie. I bet you won't do it next year.
No. Or
I just think there's certain guys
season,
that don't get treated like that. That's all.
Or maybe late this season.
Yeah, maybe.
The other guy
improving.
Oh yeah, for sure. The other guy I brought up, and we talked about him a little bit there, is Spencer Horwitz. He added a couple home runs this week. And, you know, this is another guy that I just didn't understand. I mean, he was our best hitter last week. I don't really understand the question on him, at least without seeing it. I could see, you can always see regressions. There's always means to regression. There's always a chance somebody's a little bit, like if that was the peak, then that's fine. But he's done this now. He did it when he got called up for Toronto. He's done it here. Like, he's a hitter through and through. And I think that we're starting to get, if we start getting Horwitz and Ozuna going, this lineup just keeps getting deeper. And then next is Griffin, which we're already seeing a little bit of, right? And then we see moments of York. We've seen moments of Gonzalez. We really just haven't seen the catchers yet.
Well, I think Joey Bart hit the ball well today. I thought he hit the ball. He hit the ball hard every time up. He really did. Ultimately, I just think he stinks as a catcher. Although I think he's improved even there this year from last year. I think they play him too much. I really do think Davis should be playing more, even if it's just defensive. But whatever. I digress. Yeah, Horwitz is a guy that I don't think he should be surprising. Should he? I mean, like he really was one of their better hitters last year.
Yeah, specifically in the second half, he was really good.
I'm not shocked. It's a guy that's hit 17 home runs in this league. I expect him to hit 20, 25. You know, I think that's in him. And I expect him to play decent defense. He does that. I expect him to be slower than Moses in January. He is. But you know, he does okay, man. I think he's going to be a good 6-7 hitter, you know, for as long as he really wants to. They got him at a great price, first baseman. Listen, it was a good pickup for real. And I think he's an important piece on this team. I'm pretty happy with the lineup, Josh. I like watching it, and even when he builds what I think are the worst lineup that he can possibly put together, like today's, I think that's about as bad a lineup as he can put together on paper.
As Shared said here, I would take this Sunday lineup every week the last 5 years.
Yeah,
you know
that probably says it all. Because bluntly, be real with yourself. Billy Cook belong up here? Probably not. You know, like there's an easy swap. He's probably not a major league player. Defensively he is, but come on, the bat ain't there. We know it's not. We're watching it. It's not going to come because he's never going to get the opportunity. York, Gonzalez, they're both hitting. They both got a chance. When you bring Triolo back, Billy Cook's gone.
Yeah.
So I don't mind them playing a little bit. But who's going to be that right-handed option that can play the corner outfields? Is it going to be York?
I think it is.
Well, or are they going to start asking Triolo to do it too? Because if York's going to hit, he's going to play third. You know what I mean? Like,
and then they'll just move him around when they bring Triolo.
I think York has a chance right now to win the third base spot with his bat. They're giving him an opportunity to do that. They're going to bring Triolo back in, a week or two, probably. And then he comes back. Then what? Does he? I don't think he goes right back to third. I don't think that's what they do with them.
Yeah,
but he has to come back up. He has to come back up because they don't have anybody else that can play shortstop. So they've got to have him as part of the team, and they better find something to do with him if Nick York's going to be the starting third baseman.
Yeah.
So
it'll be one of those things. It'll be that late inning. I need defense, so we're going to go with this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think that for DK, that's the way he'll handle it, is he'll say, I'm doing this because I'm confident in your bat too. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way he's doing. That's the way he's managing this team. It's confidence through and through. He doesn't want to make somebody feel like he doesn't believe they can do anything. Like, he's got them all going. I appreciate that aspect of what he does as a manager, even if there are other things like, some guys, that's their forte, and you get some shaky. We didn't agree with everything Clint Hurdle did either. I don't think there's any question he was a good manager when he was here. Yeah,
I don't think questioning his usage or whatever is necessarily proclaiming whether he's a good or bad manager.
I had comments last week saying he needs to go immediately.
I saw the comments.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I saw the comments.
That's what I'm speaking to, is like,
I'm not pretending you made them up.
Yes.
I'm not pretending you made them up. But I think there's room for a healthy debate. He's a young coach.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not pretend that like this is some grizzled veteran coach that shouldn't be questioned. Or I think he makes mistakes. I hope he learns from them.
Sure.
I hope, for real, as much as he defended it and it was defended for him, I hope he learned from that decision to pull Brandon Lau in that game. It was stupid. Period. I think I like to lean on the side of he'll learn from this. And it won't just be because the media made a fuss. It'll be because people in that room will be like, Coach, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And like he'll figure it out. That stuff he'll learn from. Like, that's not fireable offenses. Those are things he's learning from. But when I've seen you learn from it a couple times, show me that you've learned from it, okay? And maybe stop doing it. Whatever it is that's stupid.
Sure.
Over managing in general, I just think, with him a little bit early on. That's all.
Yep. I totally agree with that. About that offense, and then we're going to get in, we're wrapping it up here, but I do want to make sure that we talk about it. But about that offense too, we like it because it's good. 6th in home runs, 4th in OPS, 7th in average, 6th in runs. First, I said this in the last one, first in at bats. So we're leaving guys on, and we're not clicking all of it, but we have the most at bats with runners in scoring position. If that starts to even out, and a lot of times it does, that's I already said they're 6th in runs. That's going to go up. So
doesn't it feel like they have that kind of potential? I mean, like,
it does.
Can you honestly say, and we've had some blowouts, can you honestly say that you feel like you've seen this team firing on all cylinders, everything working? I don't think so. And not to continue to hammer Donnie, but he has given us precious few opportunities to see the best lineup they can put together run for a few days.
Right.
I want to see that, because that'll take that into another level when they start really feeling and feeding off of each other a little bit, because they know who's next. We need to see it.
And I think some of that probably comes with Ozuna and Horwitz starting to figure it out and starting to say, like, they're going to give him they're going to give him a lot less reasons to touch anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we've seen it with Gonzalez early on and York after that when they've been hot, they've played every day until there's been something that's moved it. And so I think that when we start seeing that, you start to see, like I said, everybody except for the catcher spot, you're starting to see good things that project consistency, even from Griffin and the other two that we talked about, and York. and you start to do that and you lengthen that lineup, you are going to see that lineup out there. I think they're going to basically give him no choice but to put him out there. At least you hope so.
It feels like Valdez is going to push his way up here too at some point. I really mean that. Like, and I don't want to dismiss Garcia because he's right there too. But I really feel Valdez is going to. He's
Garcia on the shelf now.
I know, but I'm just saying talent-wise and where he's supposed to be this season, he's supposed to push his way up. Because I'm not saying this is about like next week, but Valdez is hitting. And he's providing a lot of right-handed power. And I just think this team is going to have to find a way to make him part of this. Ultimately, the area to watch really is that York, Gonzalez, Triolo area. Because what has to happen is one of them has to fall off to be replaced by Valdez. You're going to flip-flop from going with an extra infielder to an extra outfielder. And you're probably going to use Brian differently. You know, I mean, but that's going to have to start happening this year, I think, at some point. And that's so fascinating to me. I have no idea when it's going to happen. Could be injury driven.
Sure.
But that's a kid that I think will come up here and hit. And I think it's going to open so many new questions for how we move forward.
Yeah.
That's going to be so interesting watching them. And some of these pitchers we talked about, Dotel and whatnot, when they start taking off, what do you do?
Right.
We've never seen this before.
Or Jones comes back and you know, what if he takes off?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of, well, they're going to need to, because the NL Central is possibly the best division in baseball. Now I know AL East, but hear me out. The Brewers and the Cubs are sharing last place right now at 12-9. And that'd be first place in the AL West by a few games, by the way. A couple of guys just lost. There's 3 teams sharing first place in the AL West at 500. Even 500. It'd be first place in the AL Central. It'd be second in the AL East right now. The Yankees win today would have put them into second. The National League in general is stronger right now, but this is the only division where everyone is above 500. And as a matter of fact, every other division has 2 teams under 500. I did a calculation. I think it was before today's games, and they have a combined 60 wins. That's more than any other division, which is unsurprising considering the fact that they're all over 500 and everybody else has 2 that aren't. So
right.
That's there. And this is early, but it just shows how these teams have played to this point. And like the Pirates were in first place Saturday morning and they lost. Everybody else won. They were in 4th place, just like that.
That's the way it is, man. I mean, like, we're going to have, we have this Rangers series coming up, and then we have 10 straight against NL Central teams. Pirates have a 4-2 record against NL Central teams. You know, that's what they have to keep doing. And by the, middle of the season, you'll start seeing a little bit of separation, and we'll start to really understand where these teams are. Right now, really, do you believe in the Cardinals? I believe that they absolutely wrote off Jordan Walker, and he looks like a stud.
Yeah.
And I believe that Weatherholt came faster than they thought he would.
Yep.
And they're not prepared on the pitching side.
Yeah.
I bet that they will still make trades at the deadline and weaken this team severely towards the end and probably fall off. Because they'll fall off naturally anyway. They just don't have the pitching to keep up in this division. The Cubs are better than they are right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They're hurt. Horton was a huge loss.
Huge.
I think Cabrera sucks. I'm glad they got him. I really am. When they got him, I actually cheered. I think the Pirates can destroy him. I think they can hit Tyon. I think he is past his expiration date, frankly. And that's if he's healthy, which won't last all season because it never has. And, they've got some issues, I think, on the mound. They really do. Imanaga, despite what he does against the Pirates, has a lot of warts.
Yep.
I don't think the Cubs have the pitching. Milwaukee, I don't know. Did their devil magic live on, or did they finally meet their maker? Did they finally trade one guy too many at the wrong time? Do they have enough pitching? I don't know. Well, Pirates and the Reds are both the same.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit about how they've gotten there, because I thought this was really interesting when I started looking it up, because I've been saying too, and I think you and I have talked about this, that it has not been really an easy road for the Pirates. They've played good teams. And I decided to look it up. Cincinnati, first place. Their opponent records, 73-81. That's a .474 winning percentage. The teams that they're playing against. St. Louis, 70-84. That's a .455. The Pirates, 80-72. That's a .526 winning percentage. The teams that we've played against. The Cubs, 74-79. That's .484. And the Brewers, 63-88. A .417 winning percentage.
That's interesting, Josh.
The Pirates in this scenario, who were just in first place Saturday morning, have actually played collectively winning baseball teams, and every other team in this division have played under that.
And we lost to the Mets, who stink out loud.
We lost to the Mets. So we've played the Padres, right? And these teams haven't. That's a big swing. The Padres are killing it right now. They run off 7 or 8 straight, before losing that, or maybe they haven't lost it. And maybe they're still running that many.
No.
Did they lose? They did. They've won 2 straight now, 9-1 in their last 10. So that's swinging it a little bit, right? But we also played the Mets, who have lost 11 straight. And that still counts. And so I thought it was interesting. The Pirates have had the tougher road to this point. And at some point, those other 4 teams are going to have to play these teams too. We all play the same.
Yep.
And so
that's the cool thing about the balanced schedule.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see if teams can continue down the road they're going. I mean, the Reds haven't gotten a lot of production from their bats, except for maybe 2 or 3 guys, 2.5 guys. Sal Stewart is going to be a problem for a long time.
And they can pitch.
And they've been pitching, and that's how they've gotten the wins that they've gotten. And their bullpen is a complete 180 from last year's bullpen early in the season. They did get stronger later.
They have an awful run differential, and I feel like run differential is one of the better predictors for how things are real and aren't real. And the NL Central is just flipped on its head upside down. So that stuff, more often than not, is an indicator that teams don't outlive. That said, a team that always does is the Guardians, and they learned how to do that by the Cincinnati Reds coach.
That's right.
So they know how to win tight games with what they have. And I'm heartened that the Pirates beat them in their series, because I really think head to head, the Pirates are better. But I think the Pirates have given away 3 or 4 games this year that a Terry Francona coach team doesn't give away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, if you guys come out of this show thinking that Gary hates Don Kelly, I'm sorry, that's not the case.
That's a comparison to a Hall of Fame manager. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, take it in context.
That's right.
I'm just saying that's why they went and got a difference maker, because they were never going to compete talent wise with everybody else.
Yeah. And I do, like, I'm curious too, because the Reds have had a number of guys during this stretch, even, who've looked a lot like, not physically, but who've looked a lot like Jordan Walker, in saying Christian Encarnacion Strand, this year's version is Noelvi Marte, who we thought was going to take a big step forward, and he's been DFA'd. Or not DFA'd, he's been sent down. Sorry.
What about Matt McClain?
Matt McClain was another guy that you just thought, well, and I think that his shoulder surgery probably played a part in that. I actually thought he was going to be the shortstop and Ellie was going to the outfield. And then the injury and things just played out differently. So Sal Stewart looks to have a better start. I mean, I really do like Sal Stewart. I think he's very good.
Yeah. His best position's third base, and they're playing a bum there.
Fair.
Dude, he's awful. I'm so grateful.
Last I saw it was like
so grateful I don't have to defend it anymore.
Yeah.
So grateful I don't have to pretend that it was good enough. It's not.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like anybody was asking me to. And I did appreciate the defense.
Yeah. Oh, I still think he's the best third baseman in baseball. Defensively.
All I have to say is now that I've got a couple guys who can hit a little, and I mean a little, I'm talking like 700 OPS we're carrying for the third base position right now. And they're kicking the ball around on a couple of occasions. In fact, costing us a game. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I don't have to watch Ke'Bryan Hayes play anymore.
And I don't know how long it's going to last. If this team is good and they keep going down this path, I mean, it's either going to be Sal or it's going to be Suarez. They're going to put somebody else at third.
Maybe Sal is a natural third baseman, so I would think that's what you would do.
Right.
But whatever. I mean, they've got a few more years to pay for Hayes, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm glad I don't have to watch it anymore, and I get to make fun of Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds about it all the time. So, because as soon as that trade happened, he called me up like, "Yeah, we got," and I was like, "Yes, you did."
Good luck. Good luck. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Gary. This was a lot of fun. I know we could probably go for another 45 minutes, but you know, just for the sake of everybody falling asleep in the chat, we have 36 right now watching. 10 of them are asleep, I think. No, I'm kidding. I think I'm maybe feeling that because we didn't get home last night until we had the rain delay, 13 innings. We drove back home 3 hours last night. So we got home just about 2:15 a.m.
And people that don't know you don't know that you do not leave.
Oh, no, I don't. And you were actually with me in the only game that I did. And that's because I had to make that drive by myself. And it was
I left that game too, and I have the same role. Like that was a Skeens game too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was his debut.
Oh, dude, that was the one that Kyle Nicholas came in and pooped the bed. Yeah.
I was there the other night and I was like, Skeens started, it rained, the guy came in and blew the whole thing. And I was like, this has so much of Skeens' debut.
You and I sat there for like 2 hours though, because we had seats underneath the roof.
Right.
So
Saturday. Same for me Saturday.
Yeah, we were just sitting there like I think we were just talking ball for like 2 hours. That was awesome. Actually.
It was awesome.
We should have been recording it.
Yes. We should have.
Yeah,
and we said the same thing. Oh, this is so funny because me and Jake were sitting there and we were saying the same thing. We were like, dude, we've got these mics. We did nothing with them. We totally should have. But it was funny because then when I got home, I immediately realized that we had no internet. And so I was like, I was dead tired. And I was like, I could go to bed, but if I do, I'm going to have to deal with this in the morning because we did a Sunday Clubhouse stream with the 3-0 take this afternoon. And then I had this coming. And so I got on a chat with Spectrum and was like, let's try to figure this out. I did all my troubleshooting things. You know what I mean? I know what I'm doing. I did all my stuff. And I said, I think this modem's gone. I need to swap it out tomorrow. And they were like, okay, I'll have someone there Tuesday. And I was like, that's not going to cut it. I need someone here tomorrow. So literally after church, just went over to Walmart, picked up a modem, brought it over here, plugged it in, did all my stuff, activated a new modem, good to go, got internet. But I didn't get to bed till 3:30 last night. So
oh, man.
This is like, so I'm tired and I'm probably projecting that on everybody else. But yeah, absolutely. Love it when you get to come on here and we get to talk ball again. And
it's good times, man.
Appreciate it.
And I'm going to go and talk baseball for another half an hour for another show. So
right. Go ahead. Plug it. I'm sure everybody already knows, but have to give
Locked
you the
on
chance.
Pirates. Locked on Pirates. Yeah, check it out. It's good stuff. We're having a good time over there and trying to keep up with the day-to-day of this baseball team and having more fun than we have in the past.
Yeah.
Right?
They're making it a lot more fun.
We followed them when they sucked. Now we get to follow them when they're good. It's fun.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. Feels like a payoff.
Yeah, it does. It does. And just for the last note here, I officially, I've been messing with a couple things for our shows during the weeks. I'm doing stuff behind every series. So we're going to do our Sunday show. And then whenever the weekly series is over, there'll be something in the morning, or, most of the time it's going to be Friday morning. We got other things going on Wednesday night. So it'll be Friday morning for the second show. And it'll basically just be, whatever I want it to be honest with you. It'll be whatever I want it to be. I could cover the series. I could talk about something else. So
it's a good show. I try to check it out as often as I can. And I don't have a lot of time. Josh is one of the few that I try to make time for. Just because, again, as I always like to say on here, you just think different than me. And I need that and value it. So I love your show.
Same. All right, let's play some music and get out of here. And hopefully next week when we're on here, the Pirates will just be back in first place, and we'll talk about that. All right, thanks everybody. Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks!